are these people?
Here we go. Holy shit. What have you heard about Alligator Alcatraz or Alligator Auschwitz? I'm going to bring a couple articles from Dissent and Bloom. This is going to take a minute. And man, it's going to be horrifying. And we're going to watch a couple videos, and I want to get your take. I think people will have different takes on this. But what she writes is that the first videos of Alligator Alcatraz came out from a janitor trying to go viral. And what she finds is that there are lights on 24/7, sub-zero AC intense, no showers, no sunlight, no lawyers, just cages, guns, and silence. She says the first rule of a concentration camp is isolation, not just from family or legal counsel or the country that disappeared you, but from the idea that anyone anywhere still remembers your name. At Alligator Alcatraz, there are no windows, no outdoor time, no darkness. The lights stay on 24 hours a day. The air conditioning is set to near freezing. Detainees sleep in cages under tents that glow white at night, under surveillance, under silence. There are no clocks. There are no visitors. The noise comes from the vents and the footsteps and the keys, but never the voices of the men inside. It's not even officially a prison. It's a processing center. It's run entirely through government contractor Garter World, who got an $8 million contract this year to run the camp. That's not a lot of money. $8 million for projects that are in the billions. All thanks to the Trump administration. It's a place that we now know the State Department plans to send women, children, and the elderly to. That's what makes it worse. Deprivation of natural light and time is a method of psychological torture used at Guantánamo, in black sites, in solitary units from California to Xinjiang. It distorts the brain. It dissolves memory. It flattens emotion into survival. Over time, it strips away identity. The UN defines it as a human rights violation. In America, we now call it policy. One janitor lasted only a few days. On his Snapchat 2 nights before he was fired, he shared from his pod in the camp, "Y'all not going to see this nowhere else. I'm showing y'all the first week. They treating this like Hitler shit back then. It's nothing like that. At least right now it ain't." But before he knew it, he was fired, terminated for recording inside the facility. It wasn't long after that his tone changed. There were no more jokes or smiles. He told everyone on a TikTok live that it's a fucking concentration camp. He's disappeared from the job. The camp hasn't disappeared. But he didn't leave. He got thrown out. He didn't leave because of what he saw. He left because he got fired. For 4 days, he showed up, he did the job, and he made his content. He rode the trucks across the compound, joked about the cold, filmed the tents, and laughed at the setup like it was something out of a movie. He didn't describe it as torture. He didn't raise the alarm. Not until they kicked him out. He wasn't warning anyone. He was building a following. Then they found his posts, pulled him from the floor, put him on unpaid leave, investigated, and fired him. Only after that did his tone change. But before he was fired, he posted a few clips. A clip inside the tents, a ride to the bathroom in a truck. We're going to get to that in a minute. A few seconds of fluorescent lights and silence. Some went on Snapchat, some on TikTok. Most of them are gone now, either deleted, removed, maybe archived. I guarantee you they're archived at Fort Meade. In one clip, he can be seen smiling and dancing in the bathroom. And that clip is in this video I'm going to show in a minute. But today, on TikTok Live, he said he has more. more footage, but he won't share it. Not unless he gets paid. Not unless someone gives him a reason to risk what's left. He says, I need a lawyer. I got fired for this. He's not trying to be a hero. He just wants the protection, a check, and a guarantee. So until then, the only first-hand images of Alligator Alcatraz exist in fragments, flickers from a phone screen, posted by a man who didn't speak out until he lost his job. No press has been allowed inside. No members of Congress. There is no inspector general making sure it's humane. You aren't even allowed access to a lawyer. I've never even heard of that in any facility anywhere. No access to a lawyer? What? As of now, janitors deleted clips.
Right away.
Janitors deleted clips scattered across reposts, half-remembered live streams, and dead links may be the only evidence one ever sees. She said that she has several of them herself that she saved, and she took notes because she won't forget. She won't allow it to be forgotten, and she promises you that she won't charge us to know what she knows. Her articles will never be behind a paywall. Support independent, user-funded media. But everyone, please know that this is how the camp survives. How all concentration camps survive. It's not by hiding, but by making sure that no one looks too closely. And if they do, they're immediately removed and placed on a do not return list. So now she says inside the camp, there are no fire alarms in Alligator Alcatraz. How could they possibly get away with that from a building inspector perspective? No sprinklers, smoke detectors, or fire suppression systems. If a fire were to break out, there would be no warning system in place to alert the men inside. The structure is entirely temporary, quote unquote, built from industrial tents and aluminum framing, but the risk is permanent. The space has been designed to hold people, not to protect them. Inside the tents, the temperature stays cold enough to sting. Industrial air conditioners run without pause, pushing a constant current of freezing air across rows of metal cots. Each detainee is given a thin blanket and a pillow upon arrival. There are no additional layers. There is no climate control inside the cages. The cold is part of the condition. There are also no private bathrooms. In the center of every cage
looks like got the meat.
Stands a single metal urinal that's fully exposed, visible to everyone around it. There are no walls or partitions, no place to wash, and no functioning showers for detainees. How quickly before disease breaks out through those tents? Staff have not reported access to hygiene supplies or clean changes of clothing. The urinal is not an exception to the design. It is the design. The lights never turn off. Fluorescent panels mounted to the steel beams above remain lit 24 hours a day. The tents glow at night from the inside out, visible even from a distance. There's no nightfall, no morning, no evening, just a sustained white light that removes all sense of time, like Vegas. There are no windows and no clocks and no sun. Detainees lie on their cots beneath constant surveillance, wrapped in blankets, freezing, watching the light without blinking. The gates have keypads. The inmates never leave the cages. There's no noise inside the cages beyond the mechanical. No music, no voices, no televisions. Many of the men don't speak English. Most of the staff don't speak Spanish. How convenient. There are no translators. Yep. There are no posted instructions or visible policies. The men are not told how long they'll be held or what their legal status is. Some, according to staff reports, have green cards. Others face criminal charges. Most remain in silence. The facility is built to house 3,000, but the former janitor stated that there were no more than 500 people there when he'd been terminated. Meals are served once per day, sometimes twice. The food is not spoiled, but it is limited. There's no consistency in portions or timing. Water is controlled. Wow, it sounds like what they're doing to the Palestinians. Starvation plus.
Yeah. That's where they learned it from.
Staff who attempted to give out extra food or water were reportedly reprimanded or in some cases fired. One resigned after being warned not to interfere. Another was removed for trying to pass an extra bottle of water to a detainee. Attempts to humanize the system were labeled breaches of protocol. The janitor who shared this information worked the night shift. On a TikTok live, he said he did not witness physical abuse during his time at the camp. He didn't see anyone beaten or hear reports of spoiled food. He said most of the people building Alligator Alcatraz were Hispanic, which is sad. The ones driving the trucks, setting up the cages, working the night shifts in silence. The ones keeping the lights on, the ones locking the doors. They didn't need guards with guns. They had the same men this country would cage if the wind shifted. They were building the thing that could one day swallow them whole. But what he described in detail was a system that did not need violence to achieve its goal. All they really needed was 24/7 lights, ice-cold rooms, and starvation. All it takes to keep a population docile. This is not a jail. It's not a detention center with due process or oversight. It's not designed to hold people for a fixed term or a specific charge. It's a space engineered to keep them still, out of sight, and indefinitely forgotten. So she reminds us that those who do not learn from history that in 1933, before the ovens, before the camps had names the world would never forget, Germany opened a facility at Dachau. It was not called a death camp. It was called a protective custody center. People were held without trial. They were separated from their families. They were kept behind barbed wire. At first, the government insisted it wasn't that bad. In 2025, the United States has built Alligator Alcatraz. It's not called a prison. It's called a processing center. People are held without trial. They're separated from their families. They're kept behind chain link fences in a tent surrounded by swamp. The government insists it isn't that bad. They'll tell you this isn't a concentration camp. They'll point to the food, to the air conditioning, to the lack of mass graves. They'll tell you that it's legal, that it's temporary, that it's policy. But they won't show you the cages. They won't show you inside. They won't let you look for yourself, because if they did, you might see what it really is. Again, there are no fire alarms, no windows, no outdoor time, no contact with the outside world, no clocks, no lawyers, no language, no sound. The men inside are not being punished for a crime. They're being held until the state decides what to do with them, until they agree to disappear themselves, self-deport. Keep them in there for 6 weeks, put them in front of a judge and ask them, would you like to go back there or self-deport? Nick Hope was just a teenager when he survived Dachau. Decades later, the terror had not loosened his grip. Still, there are nights his dreams take him back to horrendous starving years in Germany at Dachau concentration camp. I say, no, everything is over. It's over. But it wasn't over. Not really. The barbed wire is back. The language has changed, but the structure remains. The ghosts of the past are watching now, not just to remind us, but to warn us. This is not the end of a horror story. This is how one starts. So I wanted to show the video. So let's do that.
Yeah, I took a bite just to see if it was decent. That shit is pure ass. I'm over here for the money, so fuck this.
I'm here for the money, so fuck it. That shit's pure ass. This is where they do laundry, obviously. laughing about big mosquitoes on his coworker's ass. He's dancing. He's getting ready to go to work.
Shit crazy, because they say we ain't got no days off for this whole month. Cool. 12 hours every day. Cool. It's for the money, right? Cool.
It sucks sleeping with the sun out, dog. I need some shades in the bed. They only got like, what's like 9, 10, they only got like 5 hours sleep. Waking up every fucking hour. That's how you know a nigga slept. The bitch. You wake up and you release that gas. That gas last night, that bitch go, it's one of those silent first. That bitch go, phew.
Laughing about farting in the morning.
Y'all boys, this small ass little room, that bed got some AC in that hole.
So check this out.
This shit gets so cold.
This is the room that they have him sleeping in.
This is the real reason why I kept waking up. Nigga had to turn this bitch off. Felt like it was about 50 degrees in this bitch. Small ass room.
So you can't regulate the temperature.
There's somebody in the room next to me that's sleeping above me. They not in my room, but they literally like right here.
They're not in my room, but they're living like right here. His ass is right there.
So this how the fuck we gotta get around. This our little dorm shits.
All right, so here, this is our little dorm shits.
And we gotta hop in these little bitches right here.
So check this out. Those are trailers, like side by side. The bed splits the room. So you're literally like half the room is a bunk bed for you, and half, and like the up space is a bunk bed for the next guy. Like, that is just fucking crazy how they're packing people in like that. But wait, it gets worse. Watch this.
And this is just for the employees.
This is for the people who work here.
You finna go?
No, watch this.
Oh, okay.
That will look like a jail cell.
So yeah, I gotta look for a ride to take me to the fucking bathroom.
I gotta look for a ride to take me for the to the fucking bathroom. Now watch how far away this is.
You see all the way down there? Bathroom.
Look at this. He's in a golf cart. He's got to get a ride just to go take a piss in the morning after he gets up. Go past guards. Get checked to make sure you're supposed to be there. And then he's got to run because he's got to piss.
And then the shower is on the opposite side. I'll show y'all the shower. I'll show y'all the bathroom real quick.
All right, the employees are given access to showers and toilets, but the detainees are
good
not.
Morning. Oh, good morning to you, shit. It's the bathroom, dude. The shift start at 7. I'm about to take my ass outside, make a diss song to this motherfucking nigga bored out there, bit. Y'all niggas need to follow me on TikTok, man. I need to get to 1,000 followers on that bitch. So a nigga gonna live. Go.
All right, it's none like that, at least right now. I'm going to be going live. Follow me on here, right? Thanks for going live.
Little box turtle.
His live ended after night 5, after his job was terminated.
Back in my city. Tomorrow when I'm able to go live again, I'll go live. And I will do a recap to let y'all know what went on. My live restriction should be off tomorrow at around like, I think it's at like 8 o'clock or something. So that's when y'all can tune in to the live. I'll be answering all questions, doing a recap of what happened.
New post every 500 followers.
Show me support and make sure
keep sharing my page. As soon as I hit 10K, I'll be fully exposing and posting everything.
Shit, I'm gonna keep doing this for y'all. They already fired me, so it's like, shit, fuck it at this point. What y'all gotta understand is, no, I'm not trying to profit off of this, but I did lose my job doing this just to put this message out there. So y'all gotta look at it from my perspective. I gotta get something out. I'm gonna talk more about it, but just know a lot of officers quit just because they were trying to help out the residents / inmates, and their bosses kept telling them, if you help them out, like give them water, take them to the bathroom, you will be fired. If you want videos, information, any of that I haven't posted yet, you're definitely gonna have to come correct. You're gonna have to pay for it, because I'm not gonna go out like that.
In another life?
I can't play the music or I'm going to get hit.
Yeah, music. Hold it.
Yep.
Yeah, you be.
So again, follow, you see, she just set up a YouTube account at Dissent in Bloom. She's actually in chat now, so you can follow her right there. Give her a follow. I still like, I'm a little shook seeing these videos. And now let's get to the next part of it. And here's the video that she had put up, that same video on Substack, again, to make sure that if YouTube decides to take it down, it's already up here. But she says he wasn't a hero, not at first. He was a janitor with a phone trying to go viral from the inside of the belly of the beast. He danced in a bathroom. He cracked jokes in the staff truck. He filmed the cages like it was a set piece for some dystopian TikTok. No captions, no outrage, just vibes, cold ones. And then just 4 days in, the government contractors caught on. They pulled his badge, froze his pay, launched an investigation, and tossed him out like he was the problem. And that's when his tone changed. But not before. Because let's be clear, he didn't leave Alligator Alcatraz because of what he saw. He left because he was fired for showing it. The system rejected him for not for sounding the alarm, but for turning on a flashlight. And only after they kicked him out did he say the words, "It's a fucking concentration camp." Let that timeline haunt you. He wasn't trying to warn anyone. He was trying to build an audience. But in the age of manufactured silence, even accidental truth can be explosive. Even a janitor's social media can shake the walls if someone saves it in time. Dissent did. Before they vanished, she saved the clips, the bathroom, the truck, the tents, aglow like morgues. Not because he meant to document a crime against humanity, but because he accidentally did. He says he has more, but he won't release it unless he gets a lawyer or a check or both. He isn't playing hero. He's playing survivor. And frankly, I don't blame him. He already saw what happens to people who speak. The camp eats them alive. But let's not confuse his motive with the message. Alligator Alcatraz isn't hiding in the shadows. It's right there in the Florida sun with no windows, no clocks, no fire alarms. It doesn't need barbed wire when the world's too distracted to look. It survives on your apathy. It grows in your disbelief. While the messenger is no angel, the message is still there. This man is cloaked in self-interest, but he told the truth eventually, and that's more than the government ever has. He's since bragged on TikTok Live stating that he already has another job and starts Monday, by the way. I'm conflicted with him because, again, like she says, he didn't mean to necessarily expose this. He chose to go work there. And then we find out just how bad it is. So, oh, man, all right. I don't want to do either one of these things. Here we go. Again, with the ad blocker thing.
Yeah, just refresh and then hit the X.
All right, fine.
I told you to hit the X.
What X?
So refresh the page.
Yes, sir.
And then hit the X before
What
it, like, so it doesn't load the rest of the page, or just hit reader mode, top right.
Oh, there we go. So this is a Miami Herald article, and I hate bringing corporate media. You know, I can't stand bringing corporate media ever. These guys actually did a really good investigation. The calls from Alligator Alcatraz's first detainees brought distressing news. Toilets that don't flush, temperatures went from freezing to sweltering, a hospital visit, which turned out to not be much, giant bugs, and little or no access to showers or toothbrushes, much less confidential calls with attorneys. And somehow all of this is either legal or not being prosecuted. The stories relayed to the Miami Herald by the wives of detainees housed in Florida's makeshift detention center for migrants in the Everglades offers the first snapshots of the conditions inside the newly opened facility, quote unquote, which began accepting detainees on July 2nd. They reveal detainees who are frightened not just about being deported, but also about how they're being treated by the government, which is saying little about what's taking place inside, which we know why. Why would we treat a human like that? A woman whose Venezuelan husband is housed in Alligator Auschwitz told the Miami Herald. They come here for a better life. I don't understand. We're supposed to be the greatest nation under God, but we forget that we're under God. The men whose identities the Herald is withholding due to their families' fears that the government will punish them for speaking out described harsh conditions at the detention center, pitched as a new model for holding migrants ensnared in President Trump's war on illegal immigration, even though they're putting green card holders and people who are here legally. The state, which intends to eventually house 3,000 or more people at this site, has said the detainees' descriptions provided to the Herald are untrue, with no receipts to show otherwise. Trump speaks, okay, so that's him speaking at this facility while he toured it. So they gave you like a very rudimentary walkthrough, exactly where they wanted you to see, sanitized. Bugs and environmental factors are minimized in the facility. Restraints are only utilized during transport outside of the detention centers, and visitation arrangements can be made upon request. That's what the statement for spokeswoman for Division of Emergency Management that oversees the facility. All plumbing systems are working and operational. Prove it. Detainees are telling their families a different story about what it's like to live in cells inside heavy-duty tents erected on an airstrip in Big Cypress National Preserve. On Monday afternoon, for instance, word spread quickly across the detention facility that a detainee had suffered a medical emergency. One by one, detainees started calling their family members, relaying different versions of what they believed had taken place. Nobody knows. Nobody talks. Outside the detention center, Betty Osceola of the Miccosukee tribe saw an ambulance leave the facility around 2. The ambulance headed east toward Miami with its lights on and later returned to the site, Osceola told the Herald. HCA Florida confirmed that a detainee from Alligator Alcatraz arrived at its Kendall Hospital for care on Monday, but they were actually released. State officials denied there had been a medical emergency on site. Spokeswoman called it fake news. After this article first published online, a spokeswoman for DHS acknowledged on Twitter that the detainee had been sent to the hospital, but said he wasn't admitted and was returned to the detention center in an hour and a half. Right? While the state says that the detainees, are sharing the stories that detainees are sharing with the Herald are false, various scenarios described by 3 women in separate interviews are matching up. Why does that not surprise me? The women told the Herald that their husbands were unable to shower for several days after arriving. On Sunday, 2 women said their husbands complained that initially there was no water to flush toilets. All 3 detainees told their wives that the bugs were getting inside. One said that grasshoppers the size of his hand were springing into the tent and that the biggest mosquitoes he'd ever seen were flying over them in their cells. Maybe the guys are hoping that they get malaria. One detainee sent there from a Florida jail following a dispute with his ex was bitten on his face by mosquitoes a few times in his sleep, he told his wife on Monday morning. Another detainee who was arrested for driving without a license 3 days before arriving at the facility told his wife he couldn't take the conditions anymore. A 4th detainee, a Cuban reggaeton, artist Lindsay Izquierdo told CBS News and other local media outlets that the lights are on inside the facility 24 hours a day, a detail corroborated by a Venezuelan detainee's wife interviewed at the Herald and by that worker. Izquierdo was transferred to the Everglades site after landing in Miami-Dade's Turner Guilford Night Correction Center on assault and battery charges. He pleaded not guilty. Inside the facility, detainees say there are no clocks. There is scant sunlight coming through the heavy-duty tents, making it difficult for them to know whether it's day or night. The temperature, again, is also a cause of concern, not just that it's freezing, but a Guatemalan detainee told his wife that he was unable to sleep on Monday night due to how cold it was in the tent. By Tuesday afternoon, the same man told his wife that it appeared the air conditioner had stopped working and it was really hot inside. Of course it was, according to a recording of the conversation obtained by the Herald. His wife told the Herald he was detained while he was a passenger during a traffic stop with Florida Highway Patrol. He wasn't even driving.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then you had, a state representative told the Herald after hearing complaints about the conditions, tried to get in and was denied. Since inviting some members of the press to tour the site prior to the arrival of the first detainees, the state has blocked her and other lawmakers from entering, ignored the Herald's request to visit the site, and left family members and at least one attorney guessing about how to get in touch with their loved ones and clients. Katie Blankenship, an attorney and co-founder of the Sanctuary of the South, a legal services network, said Tuesday she'd been unable to get in touch with a new client whose wife called last week, saying her husband has been transferred to Alligator Alcatraz from the Chrome Detention Center in Miami-Dade. We talked about how bad Chrome Detention Center was, too. She doesn't have a number to call him at the facility. His name isn't showing up in an online website kept by ICE. She's asked ICE officials to confirm his whereabouts, but she said her emails have gone unanswered and the wife hasn't heard from her husband since he was transferred. It's again, this is a longer article. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But when a report, the wife of the Guatemalan detainee said she was trying to get an immigration attorney to represent her husband, but she was having trouble finding someone to take the case because of the lack of information regarding his whereabouts. When a reporter asked her what she plans to do, she paused. Wait, there is nothing else to do. Not even the attorneys can do anything. So fuck ICE, fuck the Trump administration for what they're doing. And also, don't forget that this is just one facility. Don't get like kind of focused on just one. Because our friend Andy Worthington, another Indie Media Award honoree for class of 2024, one of the best, closed Guantánamo guy, all right? He wrote an article this week, and I'm not going to go through it. We're running long. Guantánamo and Trump's new extraordinary rendition program for migrants. So right now, he said there are migrants from 26 nations being held in Guantánamo, with 26, including a UK citizen, named as having criminal convictions. Are they really criminals? And does Trump really want to deport them to third countries? Meaning that they're willing to now deport them to countries that they're not from. As Trump holds 72 migrants at Guantánamo from 26 countries, including the UK, what is his long-term plan? And that's an article that he wrote at andyworthington.com. The disturbing news that in recent weeks, around 60 migrants have been flown to Guantánamo, bringing the total number held at present to 72.
You can't handle the truth.
Like, we had it down to a dozen. This seems to be a revival of the use of detention facilities on the naval base, which began with the arrival of 178 Venezuelans in February, but then tailed off after legal challenges and after the administration was embarrassed by research establishing that, although they were all described as dangerous gang members, this was demonstrably untrue. But in a new twist, seeking to overcome these earlier embarrassments, DHS has published a list of naming 26 of these men and alleging that all of them, including the British national, have been convicted of serious crimes, although, via an internet search, I'm unable to verify any of these crimes. Very weird. Okay. What the administration's intention is remains unclear, but two options seem probable. Sending men with criminal convictions to Gitmo, if these claims are true, may enable the administration to claim that it can hold them without charge or trial, replicating the model used in the existing War on Terror prison, or it may be a prominent way to deport them to third countries, as recently happened when 8 men from a variety of countries, all allegedly with criminal convictions, were sent to an unknown fate in war-torn South Sudan. How many are they going to send into Gaza?
Yeah.
Drawing analogies with the extraordinary rendition program of the Bush administration and the often flawed resettlements of the Guantánamo prisoners in third countries under Obama and Biden, Andy examined a recent and commendable New York Times investigation into 58 countries that administration officials have approached or want to approach regarding taking in migrants who are not their own nationals. The only way that the New York Times is going to do any kind of a commendable investigation is if it's exposing something about Trump, because they're TDS. So he says, I also discussed the 7 countries who've already agreed and raised the alarm about the threat of the worst abuses of the War on Terror being revived under Trump and his senior officials, who seem particularly motivated not to safely repatriate migrants, but to defy protections against torture or even death by sending them to unsafe destinations where any rights they should have will be unenforceable. I also sound a similar alarm about the increasing expansion of unaccountable hit squads disappearing people on the U.S. mainland and the creation of new detention facilities reminiscent of Guantánamo, with Alligator Alcatraz in Florida as the first example, and highlight with the very real prospect that without ferocious resistance, the $175 billion allocated to ICE in Trump's big, beautiful bill will lead to a horrendous police state expansion of disappearances and gulags across the entire country. As I stated in my conclusion, resistance is necessary by all means available. Again, support Andy if you can. Support independent media. Andy is also only exclusively user-funded. So, wow. What do you think about that, folks? Fuck, dude. Frightening.
Wow.
Mac 9135 over on Twitch. The World War II Germans studied America to learn how to oppress people. Better a little history. Yep, that's true. How we treated the Native American population is also the model for how Israel treats Gaza and the Palestinian people.
Yep.
But it's crazy. Great articles by Dissent and Bloom. Great stuff. Good stuff by the Miami Herald, even though I'm not a big fan of theirs. That was a crazy article. All right. And good stuff by Andy Worthington. Where else are you hearing about these facilities? Not too many places in independent media. So if you can fund the media you want to see and support outlets like this that will amplify writers and journalists that talk about this, please do that here. Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, at the Keep the Media Free section of IndieNewsNow.com, or over on Substack at INNnewsletter.com, or at IndieMediaToday.com. Support independent media because we need it more than ever. I love you, and see you soon, everyone.
See you in a bit, fam.
Mwah. Ciao, baby.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want?